use these to communicate with each other. They leave scent around, and so one deer knows what deer was there and what it was up to. What you don't want is to touch the tarsal glands and then touch the meat later on, because that'll make the meat taste kind of funky.
Yeah.
So when I'm working on the back legs, I'm going to try to stay around the tarsal glands. Some people will cut these off, these little tufts here. They'll cut them off right away, or what I've done at times is wrap them with duct tape. But the easiest thing to do is just try not to touch them.
What I do is right here, because I use a pair of big pruning shears.
Yeah. Plop it off right there.
And if you have pruning shears, great. Just when I teach this, I like to teach how to do it all with just a knife, because a lot of times you don't have every tool you could hope for. So since there's no meat down here, I'm going to go ahead and cut right in there. This is a gut hook, which is great for making a cut of controlled depth. I'm going to use that to just rip across there.
So how long this animal has been dead?
He killed it.
About 2 hours.
2 hours.
Wow.
Did you hit it with your car?
No.
No, he shot it right there.
Right?
Right through the lungs. Beautiful shot.
I'm sure she's going to tell you all about it. She wants to write.
Hey Jackson, I meant to ask you, do you ever do bow training as well for hunting with bows?
Do I do bow hunting? Most years I'll take like at least one deer with a crossbow. I have really bad lateral, like tendinosis in both elbows. It's hard for me to hold a bow at full draw for very long, so I don't do much bow hunting.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Somebody killed it and brought it to this party. And, giving a demonstration on how to.
So what do you use? Garlic? You say any type of spices?
It's you know what, you can treat venison basically
like
just
filet,
like
right? Like a
just
filet
like
mignon.
lean beef.
Yeah.
There doesn't need any. If you gut it promptly and butcher it promptly, you can just treat it like lean beef. You don't need special venison recipes.
Salt and pepper.
You can do salt and pepper and it'll taste great. Yeah. Even though we're not going to try to keep this hide. If I was trying to keep it, we would do the same thing. It's got a big hole blasted through it anyway.
You're not trying to keep the hide, you said.
Yeah, I mean it's Doug's hide. I would skin this more slowly and carefully if we were trying to keep the hide, but we're trying to get it on the grill pretty quickly, I think so.
It's like 60, 70 bucks if you get someone, treat it for you.
Yeah, I'm at a party.
And when you want to get the hide off, you make these encircling cuts there, and then we do one around the neck, which I'll get to, and then we've already got the incision down the belly, and then I'll just show you the way we would. I'm going to do it much the same way. To figure out what line to make the cut along, it's like follow the union of the dark and the light. Right there, comes right apart. That's the beauty of a gut hook. It's just a little thing that makes the end is blunt and the inside is sharp, so it's nice you can make a cut pulling towards yourself and be unlike the cut yourself, which normally I wouldn't cut like that. And it's just good for making a cut at a controlled depth. I use this to open boxes and stuff too. It's just good when you don't want to go too deep.
Is it still warm?
Where did you get the deer?
Nelson County.
Okay. What part of Nelson?
Right in Howardsville.
Okay.
Did you you shot it with the rifle?
Yeah.
So are we in season right now, right?
Oh yeah,
Right.
oh yeah. Goes on till January here.
Oh, are we in season for hunting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
What's her name?
Deer, you don't name me.
not Bambi, right?
No, you don't name animals you
He
eat.
got it as soon as
Oh,
he
you
killed
got
it.
it.
Yeah.
As soon as
Here we
you
go.
got it.
I don't usually bother to gut my deer, but I butcher in the field right away. I don't own a pickup truck. When I hunt, if I'm going to hunt away from my own home, I just throw a cooler on wheels, costs $20. Throw it in the back of my car. If I get a deer, go back and get the cooler. I can fit all this meat into a little cooler and carry it off. So when you're prepared to butcher it right away, I mean, you might want to gut it if you wanted to get the liver and heart and things like that to eat. A lot of times you look at your shot placement, you can tell that stuff's all going to be pretty well shot up anyway. It's just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Don't you need to like field dress it or pull out like stomach and stuff?
No, you gut it. The purpose of gutting is to cool the meat down very quickly if you're going to do something else, if you needed to transport it somewhere else. And you want the guts out of there also if you're not going to butcher it right away, because there's bacteria in there that are going to get out. But I mean, the method I usually teach is to butcher it yourself. Most people, they shoot the deer and they take it to someone else who's going to butcher it for them. If you know how to butcher it yourself, you don't need to. Just do it right away. All the meat is on the outside.
Yeah.
If you want to eat the liver and the heart and all that, great, go ahead and gut it. A lot of times, the heart is probably kind of blasted apart. The liver's probably got lead fragments in it. So you look at your shot, and if you can see those organ meats are pretty messed up anyway. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, what's the point? Just strip the meat off right away. There's no reason to gut it. Just leave it
And
for
you
the
just leave
crows.
the whole carcass there?
Yeah, that's it's returning it into the land from whence it came. It was going to die there eventually anyway if you hadn't shot it. The scavengers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Among other coyotes?
the scavengers are
Scavengers.
it's gonna be gone in 48 hours.
It's gone. They're gone.
Yeah.
Within a couple days.
Can you get to the backstrap?
Backstrap's up here. We'll get to that. So what I do, among other things, is I teach classes on deer hunting for food to adults with no past experience. Otherwise, it's really hard to get. If you decide, okay, I want to eat the deer that are in my backyard, where do you start? Hunting is generally an oral tradition. I mean, not just in America, but everywhere. And until pretty recently, if you didn't grow up hunting, you probably didn't really want to. So there haven't been resources, there haven't been classes. I mean, there have been hunter safety classes, but that won't teach you how to hunt. That'll teach you how not to kill yourself or someone else while you're hunting. So I teach 2-day intensive classes, and we do everything from, it's basically a science class about deer. We learn a lot of anatomy and natural history, and everyone learns how to shoot. And then we have an actual, deer on the ground that we do a butchering and gutting and skinning demonstration on. And at the end of the class, we cook the deer that the class worked on, and we pair it with local wines and we eat it. So that is much of what I do. I work as a guide and tutor also. I'm the author of A Beginner's Guide to Hunting Deer for Food, which will be out with Story Publishing in late summer of 2011. When I started doing this, I had a lot of interest from slow food chapters around the country. In particular, I started doing events in partnership with Slow Food NYC. First, we did a few events on cooking with venison and how someone who lives in New York City in a shoebox apartment can become a deer hunter. And so I've been doing those events in New York, and then we did one on Canada geese recently. I think that hunting for food is something that has been the missing ingredient of the locavore movement, and I think it's been a missing ingredient in the slow food movement also. I mean, slow food has been doing so many wonderful things to preserve traditional foodways and to preserve traditional ingredients, heirloom varieties of fruits and vegetables and grains and of livestock and poultry that really there aren't many other people or groups out there working on. But there's a whole other, even more ancient lineage of food that's being lost every day through hunting. As even in America, every year there are fewer and fewer hunters. It's a tradition that is dying, and it's dying around the world too. As you have indigenous hunters are pushed towards more sedentary lifestyles, and they're losing knowledge that goes back arguably to predating Homo sapiens sapiens. It's something I think is extremely important to preserve. And in terms of hunting methodology and recipes and how they handle the meat, and so that's something I really want to work with Slow Food on doing, and have more people out there who are doing this and keeping these traditions alive. This is food culture. This is absolutely what we are doing. What I'm doing with Locavore hunting ties into the preservation of food culture, just like everything else that slow food does. And it's helping to preserve, ingredients and traditions involving ingredients that you just can't find anywhere else. You can't go out to the supermarket and buy a white-tailed deer steak or a pronghorn antelope backstrap. You can't do it. The only way you're going to cook with those ingredients is if you go out and hunt for them and butcher it yourself, or get someone else to butcher it for you. And that is where we need partnerships, I think, around the country between hunters and slow food groups. Yeah, they can go to jacksonlanders.com to find my my blog, or I can be emailed at jack.landers@gmail.com.